Okay, let's begin. We're in the middle of a new journey into miracles with a set of new journeyers that are going through it right now. And a very powerful learning that emerged there. And it's a learning which is all about understanding what the soul is. And it's a autobiography of the soul. And we have been sharing that during the journey into miracles. And it was quite useful for me to share that. And I just want to check something. We are not on Facebook Live, Gaurav. Is that intentional?
No, we are going live in a few seconds.
Okay. Okay. These people are starting to expect it to be Facebook Live. So.
It's taking a few moments.
Yes. So in understanding the soul, and it's quite a long download that I received, and I received it at a time where I was going through, a couple of years ago, I was going through a gallbladder surgery, and it was during those 5 days of recovery that I received this whole body of work, which is an understanding of the soul. And the one that encapsulates every little aspect of it was this autobiography of the soul. And certain elements that are choosing to come through today, which set the context of the power of the work that we're doing, which is that a soul does not have a beginning, middle, or end. It just is. And therefore, it is unencumbered by any anxieties or any changes in circumstance. The unknown is the known for the soul as it journeys its way around. Uncertain is certain for the soul. And change is constant, which enables the soul to really stay in its power and strength, rooted in its own magnificence and what it stands for, what it's about. The soul is the essence of the Creator, and it knows it. So it presences the Creator all the time. And that Creator is the vibe of creation. So therefore, the vibe of a creator is always creating. And this was all difficult in the previous era, where there was so much had actually been taken over by command and control, that being constantly in the vibe of creation was actually not even feasible. And the human form started to become, rather than being a vessel of fulfillment of the divine plan through the soul being, the human form started becoming confined by the presence of a mind frequency, which got rooted in past and future. And that past and future oscillation took the human form away from this constant space of thriving and amplifying that thriving instinct to a survival instinct, which is all about, protection, safety, wanting to get as much of it as possible to become known. And then every time it was exposed to anything that felt like uncertain, there was a huge amount of lack of safety that emerged. And different people reacted in different ways. And those of you who are in the journey into miracles know about your autopilot. That is where that autopilot piece comes in. The soul, on the other hand, and a human form became very present to, there is a beginning, there is a middle, and there is an end. And instead of being a form that is here to amplify the infiniteness of the soul presence, it became embroiled in the beginning, middle, and end limitations of survival, and got more and more and more disconnected from the knowingness of the soul being that it is. What that also did, and this is an issue that has been caused for many, as the human form started getting disconnected, many souls, and this was a very new realization, I had no idea this happens, where even the soul starts to fragment out of the human body. And there's a fragmentation that started taking place, which actually created the zombification effect. And one of the primary causes of aging is this disconnect and the fragmentation of the soul. That's how it begins. And then, of course, when you start going down that space and then you create a dialogue that aging equals not as vital as when we were youthful, and you start accepting some of the chronic conditions, and you literally make yourself vulnerable. And it becomes a downward spiral. All of it stems from that deep-seated disconnect between the soul being and the human form. And we address and correct so many things. We don't actually go down to that level of the deep-seated inner conflict. And those of you who've been working with me, certainly on the business side, business extraordinary results framework, you've heard me say this a lot, that it's all about the nuance. The secret lies in the nuance. Once we actually start picking up what that nuance is, and and what in the nuance is missing and essential that we are to put in place, and we put that in place, humongous shifts take place, not just within us, also within our world and in the world that we are all a part of. So, I chose to dedicate my life and have the next phase of my life be a time where everything occurs with ease, joy, and grace, and all aspects of my life coexist. And that was the deal that I made with Spirit, with our Creator. I became a vessel for the fulfillment of the divine plan, playing my part. So as a result, when I receive stuff, it is very nuanced and it is very precise. Sometimes it takes me a while even to really connect the dots. It's becoming faster and faster now. And this body of work that we are doing right now, that I call as beyond meditation, and Gaurav and I have brought it together as the Human Vibe Attunement, is a very powerful foundation level nuance, release of conflict. And in the process of releasing the conflict, a recognition occurs within the human form of the limitlessness, of the presence of the soul, that the human form is, its only role is to be a conduit for its expression. It's liberating because a human form does not need to do anything other than recognize that it is a conduit for the expression of the limitless presence of the soul being, that it is housing within it. It doesn't have to learn to become limitless. And hence, in my work, many of you have heard me say, there's no mega process required. Only enough to get your mind completely engaged to be able to expand in a powerful way, along with the soul. In my world, you don't go into where some of those old patterns come from. It's not even necessary. Once you get them, all it takes is getting you to return to who you are in your mastery. So it was a very powerful understanding that, aha, when the soul acknowledges the human, by acknowledging itself as a human, this is the biggest honor that we can give anyone. And it not only stops there, it goes as far as it receives itself as a human. And it accepts itself as a human. What that does is it literally, as if layers and layers and layers of disguises or cloaks or shields that the human form has put in to enable it to feel, strong in the face of adversity, they just drop away. And what happens is the prison door of the prison that we have been carrying around ourselves just fling open. And the human vibe is activated. And the human vibe is a vibe of love. It's activated full throttle. It becomes a rocket fuel for the expression of the soul. And the soul, instead of doubting it, instead of keeping itself confined until it is ready to merge into the soul being that it is, what it does is it becomes a magnet, and it starts magnetizing into it all the fragments that might have fragmented out of this human form. This soul retrieval is a very powerful shamanic practice that takes place, that is done. And that starts to happen automatically when the soul being relaxes into the human form, knowing that it does not have to be the one that is, despite the human form, going to express itself. All it has to do is to just be. And the human form takes care of the rest. The human form recognizes all it has to do is to just be. And in being, it becomes the being of love. And that amplification frequency, no kidding, is activated. And that's all it has to do, to just be. That innate vibe of love is activated. The intention of the soul being, here's the other thing. The soul came in with nothing other than its own collection of experiences and the wisdom that it had amassed through its various journeys. It came here with just one intention: to enhance and enrich its treasure trove of experiences. And the way this was going to occur was through a form, which is the human form. And once that realization dawns on the soul that this human form is a vibe of love, it can actually amplify my expression. Then, oh, okay, I can actually journey anywhere. So the human form becomes a very enriching vessel of expression and fulfillment of the soul presence. And both the beings choose to just be who they are, knowing that in this lifetime, in this leg of the journey, they are to journey together. So instead of it being one of tolerating each other, it becomes one of recognizing, acknowledging, receiving, and accepting of each other. And some of you who attended my sessions, who've taken part in my programs, have heard me say, there is nothing to forget, there is nothing to forgive, there is only to, acknowledge, accept, and receive. And this is something that I've been saying since 2010. I didn't realize it really was foundational to the ultimate release of conflict. Given that the soul is the creator, given that it has no beginning, middle, or end, and it just is, given that the human form in its vibrational state is the vibe of love, then what we are here to cause and make happen, it's never too late to embark on that journey. All it takes is to unconditionally accept whatever has been and allow ourselves to just be. And this acknowledgement of the soul of the human brings together in perfect harmony the union between the limitlessness of the soul and the amplification power of the human. And the two together brings into our field a full presence of the creator as a collaborator and a co-creator of coexistence. This body of work arrived before we got into the COVID phenomenon, just so that we would have had sufficient experience of what it is doing. Now it's ready to be expanded and be out there for people to experience, because the vibe is one of collaborative co-creation of coexistence. Operating from a space of choice, the soul is choosing to acknowledge itself as a human, receive itself as a human, accept itself as a human. The human chooses to simply be and receive that. And in doing so, it recognizes and attunes itself to the vibe that it is as a conduit of the expression of the soul, which is the vibe of love. And the love frequency gets anchored. And the two together put a stake in the ground that magnetizes the full presence of the creator energy. And we are out there celebrating the coming together and then starting to celebrate the co-creations of coexistence that we enable. And as we start doing that, every step we take, it's a step of greater and greater and greater coming together until we reach that state of complete coherence. And that is the journey that we are in. That is what we are enabling. We are expanding and amplifying and multiplying. The fact that there are so many of you from different parts of the world and different time zones, different times of the day, different directions, everything gets invoked and activated through us coming together, doing this work. So let's begin. Ensure that you are comfortable, your back is supported, your base of your spine is connected to the core of the earth. The whole drill of precious metal gold, shungite, as well as The precious stone emerald is there, activated. And we're going to begin by aligning your mind brain, your heart brain, and your gut brain. So we are aligning the mind brain, which is all about the survival instinct, the heart brain, which presences you in the now, and your gut brain, which is all about thriving, co-creating, collaborating, and doing so to bring about coexistence. So let's begin with the 946 breath. With this, as my friend JP put it, with the 9, we are opening up all of the 9 chakras. And with the 4 that we hold, we actually open up the remaining 4. There are actually 13 chakras that have now been activated. And when we breathe out to the count of 6, we literally are releasing anything at all in those chakras that might block them. At the same time that alignment is taking place. So let's begin. Breathe in, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remain anchored in your human form. Allow yourself to receive this acknowledgement from the soul. Allow yourself to receive fully, being received in your innate vibe of love. Allow yourself to experience the honor given by the highest vibrational frequency of you as your soul accepts itself in your form. Today, we are doing a very specific focus on releasing, transmutating, and relinquishing to bring about an attunement at a cellular, at a nanocellular level within your human form of what it is and what it is here to do. So it can just be and be love that it is. The soul being begins its communication. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human. You're now going to anchor yourself into a whole brain state, being in the attunement of the human vibe of love, receiving, accepting, and acknowledging itself, being acknowledged, received, and accepted by the soul. And in doing so, as we get into a whole brain state, we invoke and activate the creator energy within each one of us. And we do that coming into a whole brain state through the 9-4-6 breath. So breathe in 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take your right hand just above your heart and your left hand over your navel. You're now presencing your own presence in the now and anchoring it in this whole and complete whole brain state. And in doing so, you're enabling that co-creation of you in your human form, you in your soul presence, and the energy of the Creator. Take your hands in front of your forehead, rub them against each other. We're actually right now activating very powerful electromagnetic currents that are coming from your physical body into your pineal, enabling that pineal to bring about a very powerful healing. So you become connected more directly and more readily, understanding the inner wisdom that is choosing to be communicated through you, through signs, through intuitive hits, as well as through the spoken word. Put your hands over your eyes. Open your eyes in them. Take them on top of your head, the back of your head, down your neck, down your shoulders, and do an energy sweep. With that, the Beyond Meditation, the Human Vibe Attunement session is complete. So you can leave if you would like to, and if you would like to share one word that you're present to, that would be really great for us to receive. Join us on the same link at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 6 a.m. India time for the 12 steps to exquisite enchanting relationships with each other and with everything that makes up this wonderful planet, which is always an experiment for relationship. That was the innate reason why it was created. And for the first time in human history, we will actually return to what this planet is actually about, which is relationships. And we are kickstarting that with the 12 steps. We've been talking about a program called Pivot. So many of us have been catapulted up to the top of the pivot. It's no longer crossroads. It's now making a choice. And the tip of the pivot can be a little bit uncomfortable. So given that that is the case, I'm also very present to the energies are such that should you choose to now make a choice coming from fulfillment and love, the veils will literally like a stage where you are the performer and you're about to go in and perform the show that is in your truth. The curtains are being drawn. And the Pivot program was specifically downloaded to enable that to occur. So we will be sharing a link to that program. If any of you are interested, just put Pivot in your message as well. And we will make sure that we get in touch with you about that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for playing your part. Beginning, silence, fresh, relaxed, blissfully transformative, pulsation, gratitude, love, splendor, connected, joyful bliss, love, love, more splendor. It's interesting, it's an unusual word, oneness, gratitude, silence, radiance, beginning, joyful bliss, whole and complete, connected, love, love, and more love. Several pivots, love. Thank you, dear one. Thank you, Helene and David. Coherence, bliss, pulsation, miracles, lighter, joyful bliss, some more, amazing, some more transformation and blissful transformation. It's interesting, we've been looking at the messages over the last 12 sessions and they've really evolved, and they've shifted. So it's very powerful to read your closing messages. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. And those of us who are getting ready to go to sleep, invoke lucid dreaming and enjoy that dream state and see what the divine has to show to you.